Says I'm live. I know that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Give me a second to verify that the stream actually started. And yes, it has. Very good. Okay. Welcome. It's me, Mitch. And welcome. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. And as usual, drink it if you got it. Good to see everybody. Wow, busy chat as usual. Nice little start, 30 people so far. Beautiful day. Beautiful day here in Florida. Gorgeous. It's dry this morning, much drier. You can usually tell when I come out here early in the morning on the patio. It's, you can feel the dampness. But today was dry, and I love this. I love this. I watched the live, just a little note, I watched the live stream yesterday, and I'm always very critical of the audio and balance and the quality of the video and everything else. And I noticed when I first started the stream that there was a lot of background noise. And it's very hard not to pick that up because I'm outside and the world is a noisy place and I've got an interstate just on the other side of that wall. And you're always hearing noise and the wind and animals and everything else. And so I tried something a little different today, and I'm hoping it made a little difference. I won't know until I actually watch the replay. What I've done is I've moved the mic a little closer to my face. So meet Mike. Mike is my new best friend. And I think most podcasters have a mic stuck in their face. I've always tried to hide it. I figure maybe it looked more professional. But we're going to try it this way today and see how this works. Trying to just do a better job in the elements that I do this thing. I just can't imagine what's going to happen in the middle of the winter when it's 28 degrees out here and I'm coming out here to do a live stream dressed up like Kenny from South Park with a parka closed all over my face and a cigar sticking out. But we'll cross that bridge. And, you know, there's going to be times when I'm just going to do it indoors because it's just too cold outside and we will not have the usual cigar smoking. Some of you probably like that. Well, today's Thursday. It is Halloween. It's Halloween. Oh, goody. Couple things for me. Well, before we even start, let me bring Ellen in, say hi, put her up in her perch, and then I'll get on to tell you a few little stories. While people come in, we're up to 58 people now. Yeah, people do pour in. Unmute your mic there, Ellen, and we'll bring you in. There we are. Okay, good morning, Ellen. Ellen's in the dark this morning. Tell us why.
Well, it's rain. The sun is just coming up, and it's a rainy, cloudy day here in Wisconsin. So we'll see what happens when the sun comes up. Otherwise, I might have to turn some lights on. But otherwise, well, I'm kind of like got that Halloween ambiance going.
Yeah, you got that glow from the computer scrine. Well,
yes, happy Halloween.
It's great to have you here in the dark or in the light.
Here. Yeah. Hi, everyone in chat, and I'll just give a quick announcement because I was just saying hi to him. One of our regular coffee drinkers, Turamir from Finland, is coming to the U.S. tomorrow.
Cool.
For 2 weeks.
Where's he going? Where's he going? Do you know?
He is going to the Las Vegas area. And he has friends there, and then might be doing a little traveling around. But if anyone has any tips or suggestions for him about staying here in the good old U.S., he is eager to have any.
I have a tip for you. You've picked the most tumultuous week in American history to come to this country, and
really.
You're going to see stuff. You're going to see behavior in people. You're going to see what is undoubtedly the worst that Americans or some Americans have to offer. And hopefully you won't see that much of it in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is about Las Vegas. The most important thing to Las Vegas is running those casinos, taking your money. But what you're going to see this week, especially if you turn on the TV, it's not who we are. It's who a small percentage of us are, who get in positions of influence where they can set the narrative and rile everybody else up. So just be a little wary of that, and don't be too tough. Don't be too tough on us, okay? All right, Ellen, I'm going to put you up in your perch, and there you go, and keep an eye over me and everybody else. And as usual, it's great to see you in the morning. Great to see you in the morning. And you're going to keep an eye out for questions. So if anybody wants to ask me anything, and we've been doing great with questions on this morning live stream, much better than the other live streams. In fact, Ellen's got some questions left over from yesterday that happened right at the end, and we're gonna try to somehow address them. But put a QQQ, 3 capital Q's, in front of a comment, and we'll see it. And love to answer them. I can't, as part of a disclaimer, I can't answer questions about your personal medical situations, but I certainly can answer a lot of questions on a broad range of subjects relating to good nutrition and overall metabolic health. That seems to be my main area of interest. I made a few notes, not many, just a couple. Let me see what I got here. It's not that page. There it is. My video yesterday, grass finished versus grain finished, brought out an awful lot of comments. I know I asked for them, and it was great, and I was tickled to death to see it. And I'm here to report this morning, if you haven't read the comments yet or seen it, that grain finished beef was the clear winner in people's preference, for all the things I talked about on that video, for the higher fat content, which makes it just taste much better, for being much more tender. I was surprised, to be quite frank. I may have eaten some grass-fed beef somewhere, grass-finished beef somewhere, in a restaurant or something, and may have just chalked it up to a tough, lousy-tasting steak. Okay? Because that's what it was. And I think, maybe a little kind to it on that video. But I'm here to tell you, it was horrible. How's that, Ellen? Is that a good one? It was horrible. I had 1.25 pounds of that stuff to get through, and with every bite I took, it just got worse and worse, especially as it started to cool down a little bit, and tougher to chew. I mean, I got pretty good teeth. I can gnaw pretty much anything, but it was a chore to get through that steak. And considering that in most cases it's a lot more money for the supposed difference in nutrients, which I was led to question after that experience yesterday. I was led to question it. The biggest difference is it's lean. Well, that's not why we do carnivore. We don't do carnivore. We avoid the lean meats. And then I saw in the comments something that was so ironic, it almost made me laugh. So many people said, it's really lean, and the only way I can eat it is to add fat to it. Well, where are you getting this fat that you're adding to it? You're not getting it from grass-finished animals, because they don't have the fat. What you're adding is the fat from grain-finished animals. So after you spend all this money and cook up this tough-tasting steak and go and add a whole bunch of fat to it, you're adding back in the fat that you're trying to avoid in the first place. And that's especially true of those people who said, I don't like grass-finished steaks, but I really enjoy the grass-finished hamburger that I buy at Sam's and Aldi's. Well, that's because they add 20% fat. So basically what you're doing is you're just eating grain-finished beef when you do that. So the grass-finished stuff turns out in most cases to be a marketing ploy, like so many other things. And I see absolutely no reason to go out of your way. Now, I know a lot of these small family farms that box this stuff up and ship it to you in dry ice and charge $30, $40 a pound for this meat are going to argue with me. And maybe their beef is better, but very few of us ever get the quality of beef that one of my commenters did, who said they raise their own cows. They slaughter at 2.5 years old. In that time, the cattle can fatten up being grass-fed and grass-finished, and their steaks are wonderful. Well, I'm sure they are. But none of that kind of meat ever gets to us. They don't keep these cows around for 2.5 years till they slaughter them. So, for the masses, for us dumb masses, who buy most of our meat at Costco and Sam's Club and Publix, and it says grain finished, it's perfectly fine, tastes better, and that's so important in carnivore. So that was my final verdict about that thing. I was going to try one of the fillets, but I'm not going to pay $20 a pound to be disappointed again. And yet, the meat guy said they're selling out. They're just flying off the shelves. Well, that's good, people. Less competition for me. You keep buying that stuff and enjoy it. Make sure you got good dentures or something. But I was so surprised. I mean, really surprised. More than I showed in the video, because I didn't want to just spurt it all out. But my impression of that stuff was terrible. And the more I ate of it, I couldn't finish it. I just couldn't eat it all. It tasted so bad. It was so tough to chew, and it was so unappetizing. I ate about 3/4 of it. And then for my second meal of the day yesterday, I ate some smoked salmon, and I cooked up a pound of real good fatty ground beef. And God, it tasted so good. And it's the fat. And any people that don't really get it, that fat is where the flavor is in any of the foods we eat. Fat is why bacon is so good. Fat is why when you eat chicken skin, chicken thighs, and they're dripping, or baby back ribs with the fat dripping, the flavor comes from the fat. And that's what we want to do. And the biggest thing that carnivores or anybody on this kind of a lifestyle does wrong is eat a totally inadequate amount of fat. So those are my final thoughts on that. I know we're going to be talking about it more, and there's always going to be those people who say that, well, you're wrong. So okay, everybody has an opinion, and that is only my opinion, but an opinion that seems to have been shared by the majority of you. And if you go back and watch that video again, I kind of anticipated that before I even started. I knew that it wasn't. I almost knew, and I tried to go in with an open mind, but it was so obvious that open mind or closed, it made no difference. The thing was horrible. The thing was horrible. It cost me $16 for those 2 steaks. I could have eaten ground beef for 4 days for that. It's not worth it. Not worth it. I have a question I want to ask people. It's a mildly politically related question. It was just something I saw in the news this morning. It just puzzled the hell out of me. Because when I hear something, I always want to know why. I try to figure out why. Why, when I hear that so-and-so did that, I would say, why the hell would so-and-so do that? What was his motivation to do that? So there's a story that in some of the most liberal cities in the country, in the Northwest, in Seattle and in Oregon, people are burning ballot boxes. I don't imagine it's Republicans burning ballot boxes. There's no way we're going to win those states no matter what anybody does. Who and why would people be burning ballot boxes when they contain votes that probably support their radical positions? No more discussion on that. Just the big question mark of the morning that's just hovering right above my head. I thought it was absurd. Don't forget the time change this weekend. Sunday morning at 2 a.m., although none of us are going to get up to do it, but at Sunday morning, 2 a.m., we set the clocks back an hour. And the good news about most of our clocks these days is they are connected some way or other to the internet. And when you wake up in the morning, they'll already be reset. But that thing on your stove, that clock, sometimes in your car, you have to manually turn on the daylight savings timer, turn it off. Those might be wrong. I know that from the last time change because I spent half the day the next day looking at the wrong clock and forgetting about it, and just being an hour behind everybody else that day. So not today, not this week, but that's Sunday a.m. So if you got clocks that need to be reset, set them Saturday night before you go to bed. When you wake up in the morning, you'll know the real time. And you are going to wake up early because the sun's going to come up 1 hour early, and that's where your circadian rhythm is set at this particular point in time. And when we try to jump that whole hour instead of just a minute or two every day, we feel it. We get jet lag. So we'll all be walking around. I doubt many of us will get that extra hour of sleep. Okay, God, I managed to waste 15 minutes just talking here. Ellen, why do I do that? Let me start in and just quickly say hello to people. And I did want to go back to the point in the chat that was when I started the stream. Because the early birds will be the early birds. They'll be the early birds. And they start coming in at 6:30. And I know they're still here, and I know I won't miss any of them. So here's a chat, 8:15, 8:10, 7:55. Let's start with that one. 5 minutes before the show started, we have Terry. Will I make it to 8:30 a.m.? Don't know. I just watched Kilts as a time killer. Well, Kilt starts hours before I do. And his stream usually ends about 6 o'clock. That's 2.5 hours before mine. So if you've been hanging around since the end of Kilts, yeah, I hope you make it. But I figure you're probably pretty here. And the first one in after 8 o'clock was Mike Seeley Sr. Says, good morning, everyone from Melbourne, Florida, and happy Halloween. Father of United Carnivore. Lisa Russell's here. How you doing, Lisa? Happy day, everybody, she says. Ellen chimed in. Ellen's here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Mark Whistler, early bird. How you doing, Mark? Good to see you. Rick Charger Mopar. I will give Peter Papa Carnivore credit for being the first one in this morning, however. And I think one of his first messages was boo, being Halloween and all. Rick says, good morning from Miami. And then I thought, well, maybe I should say hi to everybody, so I did. And Terry and the Furrow Grandma's here. How you doing? Says good morning. And Nancy Reed says, hi, everyone. Appreciate Mitch. Helps me get through the day and encouraged on this beautiful journey. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. That makes me happy to hear that. Grandma Prepper says good morning to everyone. B-Matt is here. Hi, Matt. How you doing? Good to see you. And Matt says good morning and happy Halloween. I'm dressing up as the scariest thing I could think of. A vegan. Boo. That's true, man. Go around dressed as a piece of broccoli or something. That'd be great. That'd be great. Robert Sprackle, how you doing? Good morning, everyone, he says. And Lori's here. Lori's Carnivore Story. Good morning to you. Happy Halloween, she says. Carnivore Journey. Good morning and happy Halloween. Moorhen is here. Hi, Ann. How you doing? Good to see you. Ann's over across the pond. Sometime in the future. It's the afternoon over there. I don't know. Do you guys get exactly the same time change that we do? I don't know if you do or not, but I'm curious. I never really looked into that. Johnny Drone Flyer's here. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? My old drone flying buddy. Good to see you. Dixie Scott is here. Good morning. Booby Goats is here. Booby says, good morning from haunted Tennessee. Polish Mike calls me boss. I like that. I like that. When I owned my company and had a ton of employees, everybody called me boss, and I got used to that. Haven't heard that in a lot of years. There's Papa Carnivore. Hiya, Peter. Good to see you. And he chimed in, good morning, fella carnivores. Waited until there was an audience to say hi to, not just the usual suspects that gather and have a little confab early in the morning. And Turamir, we're talking about you. Listen, man, have a safe trip and just enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself in our country. And we're looking for a report. We're going to look for a report of your impressions. Now, if you want to see what America is like, there's two places in this country that you're really not going to get an actual idea of what America is like. One of them is Las Vegas, and the other is Disneyland. And they are two of the most popular tourist destinations in this country. So I've often thought, when people go back from visiting this country and they've been to either Las Vegas or Disneyland, what are they telling their friends about their impressions of America? That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Dixie says, off to work today, doing your happy dance. Good to see you, Dixie. Glad you made it. And let's see who is new. I haven't said hi to. Lori. Here we go, Fred Wright. How you doing, Fred? Good to see you. Good morning from Indianapolis, Indiana. Eddie Edwards is here. Eddie says good morning to everyone. And here's a long Grey Wolf. Grey Wolf, hi y'all. He says, hi y'all. How y'all doing? John Logan chimed in. How you doing? Hello, Mitch. How's your kidney stone today? Hope you're done with it. Yes. I passed it 2 days ago. Gone. Done. Out of the picture. I do, however, and I wanted to just mention this today. Today's the day I got the appointment with the urologist that I was waiting for 9 days. So I passed the kidney stone in 7 days. And today, and I didn't want to cancel the appointment because, I obligated myself, and it's kind of late to cancel an appointment. I can't imagine he would lose money, but I did want to go meet the guy. I'm not going to go in there and let him examine me. I'm not going to bring records. I'm not going to fill out any forms. I'm going to say, here I am. I'll happily pay the deductible. I think my deductible is $30. I'll give him the $30. And I just want to talk to him. And we'll see what kind of guy he is, and I'll feel him out real well to see if he thinks I'm a crazy radical lunatic because of the way I eat, or has actually grasped. He's a middle-aged guy, has actually grasped after all these years some of the reality of why he and other people like him, following the standard of care, are killing their fellow Americans in record numbers. But I'll talk to him. I'll be nice and I'll be respectful. But I have a couple of very pointed questions I'm going to ask him, and I'm going to tell him a little bit about how I live, and I'm going to see his reaction, and probably at that point, I'll decide I don't need the guy, and I'll just stick with the emergency room. That seems to be the only place, other than my dermatologist, who I've actually got pretty well straightened out now. He respects me. We have great conversations. We differ on a lot of things, but still, he's seen me over the years go from a very sick, arthritic, fatty liver, high blood, hypertensive, skin cancerish guy to a perfectly healthy 77-year-old with much better skin now than I ever had 7 or 8 years ago when I first met the guy. So either he's got to admit to himself, well, this guy's not human. He's from a different planet, because with his cholesterol and everything he tells me about the way he lives, he should be dead by now, not healthier than me. And my dermatologist is a sweet guy. He's a nice guy. I love him, but I've known him for 8 or 9 years, and I've watched him every time I go in there just look older and more unhealthy. I think sometimes the proof is in the pudding, even if we want to create a narrative that says otherwise. Anyway, John, good to see you. And here we have Muyini. Hello, everybody. Good morning to you. Gary Hart checked in. Good to see you. And I'm going to do this until the top of the hour. We'll get as far as we get, and then I want to start seeing if we got any questions. And if not yet, we'll address the questions from yesterday. I'm looking out to see if anybody actually buys me a coffee. I love that. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Peter. Peter bought me a coffee. Peter, you're a prince, my friend. I really appreciate it. Wishing you a happy Halloween, and stay away from my kryptonite, chocolate. You better believe it. You better believe it. Chocolate is evil in so many ways. Cocoa is one thing, but nobody just eats plain cocoa. It's horrible. If you've ever eaten like 90% cocoa chocolate, you say, ugh. They use it for baking because they add tons of sugar to whatever it is they're baking. But chocolate gets you on every front. It's loaded with oxalates. It's loaded with sugar. And they tout it as healthy because they say, it's got polyphenols. Oh, they always come up with some way to sell their products. Avoid the chocolate. It is addictive as hell. Just ask anybody. It is so, it's a drug unto itself, and a hard one to kick once you get used to eating a huge bar of chocolate every day and drinking everything chocolate flavored. It is addictive. Thank you, Peter. I really appreciate that. And Gary Hart, I'm hoping for the opposite. I believe the excitement will overpower the negative. My mother had an old expression. She used to say, from your lips to God's ears. I truly hope you're right. I truly hope you're right. And if that's what happens, and if everything goes peacefully, and we don't create a civil war in the process, I'll be the happiest guy on the planet. It'll show me that maybe the human race isn't as ridiculously down the tubes as I seem to think it is based on what I see every day. Wanda Gerling's here. How you doing, Wanda? Good morning, Mitch, Ellen, Scooby. Hope all's well in your neck of the woods. Everything's great here. And another minute or so. I do like to say hi to people. Robert Goetz. No, not Robert. See, I'm picking up my new glasses today. Yay. Maybe it'll help. So 10 o'clock in the morning, I will be standing in line to get into Costco to get right to the optical department before it gets busy. So maybe I won't be mistaking Booby for Robert when I look at it without looking closely. Mita Twos is here. Good morning. Good morning, Mita Twos. How are you? And I see a lot of repeats here, so that means I think we're getting to the point. We're getting to the point about 8:40 a.m., which was 20 minutes ago. So a lot's been going on. And Lisa Russell, passed the kidney stone? Yes, I did. I gave birth to a 6-millimeter little baby boy, and my daughter named him Fred. And if you look at a stream from 2 days ago, I think I showed you pictures of it, and I talked kind of at length about the experience. And I'm thinking about just making one standalone video just for a legacy thing so it's there and just sit and outline the entire experience of what I went through with this kidney stone. Not physically, not just the pain, but the worry, the unknowns, the anxiety, and tell the story of the whole event. Many of you have passed these things. You know it isn't just about the pain. They can give you a pill for that, but when that thing hasn't passed yet, there's always worries. Am I going to need surgery? What kind of surgery am I going to need? What am I going to have to go through? How long is it going to take me to... You don't know any of it. And it's the unknowns in medical conditions that are worse than the actual condition itself. That's why sometimes I just don't want to know. If something's not bothering me, I don't want to know about it. Because if I knew about it, I would be anxious and worried all the time. And that's more destructive than whatever it might have been in the first place. One more new person. One more new person. Where are you? Where are you? I think that we got everybody, but here we go. Here's one more new person. Kara, how you doing? I saw a report that the burning mailboxes were protests about Gaza. Oh my God. It's possible. That's as believable an explanation as I can think of. But which side? Are the Palestinians burning our ballot boxes, or are the Israelis burning our ballot boxes? I don't want people calling me racist, but I think I know the answer to that one. And if I gave it, they'd tell me I'm a racist. Basically, race has nothing whatsoever to do with that. In fact, there cannot be a human being on the planet Earth that by definition could even be a racist. The definition of being a racist is you hate people who are not the same race as you. Well, every human being on the planet is the same race. We are Homo sapien sapiens. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what country you come from. I don't care what religion you are. You are a Homo sapien sapien. You are of the human race. So racist is a word that has no meaning and certainly no use being thrown around when you're trying to call somebody prejudiced or you're trying to call them a bigot. It's got nothing to do with race. Ignorant people who have no idea what's even coming out of their mouth, slinging insults at everybody else. That's where we are. People don't stop to think about it. The last human that could possibly have been a racist was about 35,000 years ago in the caves in southern France, when the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens lived together until the Neanderthals went extinct. That's the last time there was more than one race that could consider itself human on the planet. And I tell people, and they look at me again like I'm crazy because I live in a world of reality. I said, racism died 35,000 years ago when the last Neanderthal died. That's when racism died, and it's impossible for any human being to be a racist. And that's true. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I think it's a wild misuse of the word. So it all boils down to semantics. Boxrod's here. How you doing? And I'm done. Okay, Ellen, I'm going to ask you to turn your mic back on, and I'm going to ask you to tell me if you got any questions. And I guess you've noticed that it doesn't say Mitch at Old Guy Carnivore on the bottom of the screen in red today. I decided, let me turn that off. It's always there. Everybody, if you guys don't know who I am by now, I'll tell you, I'm Mitch at Old Guy Carnivore. So there you go. Now you know who I am.
Okay. Well, there we
All
got
right.
that straightened
I
out.
think it's
Well,
I think I'm much prettier without that big red banner in front of me all the
I
time. But
like
we'll
it. It
see. And
looks
if people
nice.
really miss that banner, I'll be happy to bring it back. No problem. I can do
Okay.
that. I can do that with one little flick of the switch.
Okay. So please share your thoughts if you'd like the banner back.
Yeah,
Well, we do
I
have.
don't think anybody's going to want the banner back. I tell you what. Let me before you give me the first question.
Oh, there we go.
Let's cheer
Yes.
this up a little bit. And I want all of you to excuse me while I fire up the cigar and try not to set this microphone on fire. Let me push it away a little bit.
Hey, good for you.
Okay. Now, Ellen,
Now.
I have got everything I need. Everything that makes me content, and I've talked
Ah,
about that a lot. Everything that makes me
mhm.
think it's good to be alive. Life is good. And
Life is good.
have another one of those content moments that are too few and too far between these days.
Well, here's something to make you feel a little better. We do have some questions, but Mark C., our good friend Mark C., is here this morning, and he has gifted 5 memberships.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. And tonight is the private community live stream, Thursday night
Perfect.
at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And there are quite there. It's a growing group of people. I think we're up to 230 something members now.
Oh, really?
I hope many of them. We still get the same 7 or 8 people come into the chat, but I hope other people, new people, don't be embarrassed. Screw up a little courage and log in, and we'll work with you if your audio, if your tech, we need to straighten out your technology. If there's something wrong, we'll deal with you. Worst comes to worst, we'll thank you for trying, and maybe by email we'll see if we can't fix the problem. But we have a ball. I look forward to that. I look forward to that every week, and I'm looking forward to tonight. And right after this stream ends, I'm going to go in. I'm going to create the live stream for tonight with the thumbnail and put it up so the private community will start to see it as a reminder coming up in their feed. Okay. Thank you, Mark C. Thank you so much. I doubt I could actually find that in this chat. I probably might be able to show it on the screen. And let me scroll down. Yeah, there it is right there. Mark C. gifted 5 Old Guy Carnivore memberships. Thank you, Mark. Mark single-handedly, I got to say, is probably responsible for most of the growth in that private community. And for that, I'm deeply indebted to you, Mark. Thank you so much. All right, Ellen, question time.
Okay. Rich Hoff asks, have you ever tracked your blood sugar over time, like with a continuous glucose monitor?
No. No, I've never had a reason to. Not that there's anything wrong with doing that. Many people should do that, at least for a couple weeks. One of the best uses of those CGMs is to learn which foods spike your sugar and which foods don't, so that you can stay away from the things. But you can figure that out in about 2 weeks. You got that thing going. You say, okay, I wonder how much a bagel spikes my blood sugar. So you eat a bagel. Half an hour later, you find out that you're almost in a diabetic coma. And then you say, well, maybe if I eat low glycemic carbs, what happens then? So you eat a pound of broccoli and nothing happens, or you get a little mild. So you begin to learn that if you don't want to be a pure carnivore, and if you're not a real carb addict, at least you learn which foods you can eat that don't really spike your blood sugar too much, because not all carbs do the same. There's a glycemic scale of how fast these carbs are absorbed in your bloodstream. At the top of the glycemic scale is, of course, pure glucose. things like rice cakes, popcorn, anything made with white flour, that's pure sugar. You put a bite of that in your mouth, and the amylase enzyme in your saliva hits it and breaks up those complex carbs into glucose molecules. You're eating sugar before you're eating pretty much table sugar before you even swallow it. Just right after you've chewed it, you're eating table sugar. So, yes, that's good. Now, the reason I have never done that and never needed to do that is because I have been a low carb person predominantly most of my life since 1973. Atkins wrote his book in 72. I read it. It made tremendous sense to me. So every diet I've ever been on, and there have been 15 of them or so in the period of time, has been a low carb diet, but not a no carb diet. So not abstaining from carbs has always allowed my addiction to sabotage me, and I always gained the weight back. And it wasn't until I became a carnivore and had the epiphany that it was the addiction that was ruining my life. I wasn't really eating enough sugar to ruin my life, but it was the addiction that always threw me off the path. That I had to abstain because that's how you stop an addiction, and it turned everything around. Now, the highest my A1C has ever been in my life is 5.1. My blood sugar numbers always come back good. My glucose tolerance tests, the normal tests they run. Never had fasting insulin, never had C-peptides. I never worried about it. But the one thing that's always worked perfectly in my body has been my pancreas. I may have screwed it up for short periods at a time, but I always got my head back together. Whenever I hit around the 200-pound mark, I put a stop to it and went right back on something else and got back to 150, 160 pounds and stayed there for a few months until the addictions got me, and then I'm back up to 200 again. But I never really ate enough sugar for a prolonged enough period of time to even begin to push me towards diabetes. So I've been poisoned in many ways by the foods I've eaten, but I've never had a sugar problem, never had sugar in my urine, never had high blood sugar. I mean, I've always been okay. So there was no need for me to worry about the diabetes aspect of what so many people who turn to carnivore or keto turn to it to fix. That's the answer to that question. I think that for somebody who has an A1C in the pre-diabetic range over 5.6, definitely has to pay attention to that stuff. And definitely needs to quit carbs completely, at least for a few months, to see if it brings their blood sugar down. And yeah, a CGM is okay, but I think people are beginning, like most technology, to actually overdo it. It's being pushed hard by so many YouTube influencers. You need a CGM, you need a CGM. I don't know about you. The last thing in the world I want to do is run around hooked up to a machine monitoring me 24/7 for anything. I don't ever, I would be ashamed of having to do that. But if you have a medical reason to do that, yes. And I think you can find out anything you need to know in less than a month with a little smart experimentation of different foods and finding out the things that are raising your blood sugar and correct those things. Learn which foods you can eat that don't spike it, and just eat those foods, and then throw the CGM away and prick your finger once every month or so and see how you're doing. That's my advice. Again, my opinion. My opinion. Hope that answered your question. How about that, Ellen? I can't hear you.
Great.
Okay. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. All right.
Bod, I don't know how to pronounce this. B-O-D.
Boxod, I think.
Boxod,
yeah, that's the best I can make of it.
And would like to know, has anyone noticed vision, eyesight improvements eating this way? And some people have commented in the chat.
Yes, I think you'll find the comments are that markedly. I think that the first thing that most people notice is the either complete disappearance or diminishment of eye floaters. Your little friends that swim in, come in and visit you. I noticed that pretty quick, within a couple of months. I also noticed that my eyes, although not dramatically, I noticed that I could see sharper and better without my glasses. Evidently, my the lenses. The reason you need glasses is because the lenses harden, and they're not flexible enough to change focus. So you have to correct it externally. Well, I think if you stick to carnivore and you eat the right stuff and stop eating the poisons, that your body heals those lenses and they start to get more flexible, and you start to be able to get better vision and need less correction. We have many other things wrong with our eyes. Astigmatism. I need prism correction. I don't think that carnivore has done anything. Astigmatism is caused by the fact that your eyeball isn't perfectly round. I don't think that that has changed at all. In fact, in my last eye exam, she said it changed a little bit, but it hasn't gone away. I still have astigmatism. But I think my correction was reduced a little bit. I could read more with my glasses off in some cases than I could with my glasses on, which just scared the pants off me. I said, what the hell's going on here? And I noticed that every morning if I tune to YouTube on the TV and try to read the titles of the video that are across the room even with my glasses, I have a hard time. And I noticed that when I took my glasses off, the letters themselves got sharp. But because of the astigmatism and the prism correction, I saw 3 of them, all over the top of each other, and I couldn't live like that. But as far as the actual focus, the focus improved. So yes, I think. Now, if you really want some, and I'll say educated opinions, because she is an eye doctor, watch Lisa Wiedemann's videos. They talk tremendously. I've also heard that it is tremendous for preventing macular degeneration, which is the biggest problem that diabetics suffer, which is why so many diabetics go blind, I think. But, blindness is a major consequence of diabetes, as is I was going to say diabetes, but of course. Blindness, having your problems in your extremities leading to amputations. I mean, you can manage this, but the way the medical community manages diabetes is just by throwing more insulin at it year after year after year, which just exasperates the damage and the problems. Instead of telling their patients, listen, stop eating sugar, stop eating carbohydrates, stop stuffing your face with pasta and bread. No, they tell you to continue. They even show you recipes on the ADA website on how to make peach cobbler. Just take more insulin. Well, that'll kill you faster. It is criminal, but again, that's my opinion. Nobody wants to seem to think I should have any say-so in the matter. So that's all I can do is sit here on my little perch and let you know what my opinion is. But yes, marked. I have not seen the first comment or any claim yet that I went on carnivore and went blind. Have you, Ellen?
No, I haven't.
No, I've never seen that. I also I've seen a claim of people say I went on carnivore and my A1C went up a point or two. And there are explanations for that, and it's perfectly normal. Mm-hmm. But I have never seen anybody say, I went on carnivore, and and I can prove without a shadow of a doubt that it caused me to become a diabetic.
Right.
There's something else going on there.
Right.
You can't have as many thousands of people as we have in our community, and none of them are having those things. Everything is going in exactly the opposite direction, and you can look at thousands of people. Nobody's ever done a study or taken a toll, but there are thousands and thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people that have normalized their A1C by just not eating carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the problems that all the seed oils and plant toxins cause. sugar. There's three separate issues, that you can fix one of them and still improve, but still be screwing yourself up with the other two. So I hope that answers that question. Yes, yes, the downside to carnivore for your eyes is non-existent. The upside is exciting. It's worth a try. Worth a try.
Okay, ready for the next one?
I am. I was born ready.
Okay, and this is from, no, wait. Okay, I wrote down the question, but didn't write down the name.
Uh-oh. That's okay. Just read the question and
we'll go.
We'll know. Are we getting to the questions from yesterday yet? But
no, not yet. Mr. Okay. We'll do that next. Mr. Guardian HD wants to know, have you seen the scientists? Have you seen that scientists, I assume, have sent draft recommendations to FDA to change to plant-based protein and away from red meat?
Oh, there's, yeah, I think I've heard it. I mean, maybe not the specific.
Yeah, I'm not sure
instances you are, but this has been a push for years from these people, and it comes at them from every which direction. Every lobbyist, every industry that profits from people buying more highly profitable plants over less profitable meat, they're all going to find scientists. They're going to find expert witnesses. They're going to find people that are going to write up reports and papers everywhere. It's all corrupt. It's all nonsense. I have the slightest little glimmer of hope that if this election goes properly, that'll put an end to how far that might get. The most important thing we can do now, the most important change we can make to actually pave the way for any change in the way things are handled now would be a complete house cleaning at the upper levels of every agency that's known by three letters, by an acronym, especially the FDA, or four letters when it comes to the USDA. And yes, USDA is just another four-letter word. So, yeah, I might not know the specific scientists that you read about, but they're not the only ones, believe me. This has been an ongoing push for years and years and years. And they push from every direction, in every direction, trying to legitimize the phony science that says the human animal was designed not to eat meat, but to exist on a plant-based diet. The irony of how absurd that is does not escape me. So that's the answer to that question. But it is indicative of why we're in this mess. Why we're in this mess. We had that meetup a couple of weeks ago. Or was it last week? God, time flies. We had that meetup. And then we went to the cigar lounge after. And if you had walked into that cigar lounge and looked around, you'd see a bunch of obese people sitting around smoking cigars. Very unhealthy people. They had it was approaching Halloween, so there were buckets of candy everywhere. So all these obese people were sitting around smoking cigars. There weren't very many of them, but there was a couple, two or three. And the normal crowd in that cigar lounge is very unhealthy people. And it's not the cigars that are killing them. It's their diet that's killing them. And there's always junk food. They're always eating. None of them are ever, I don't know if they spend more time with the cigar in their mouth or with the candy in their mouth or pastries or any of this other crap. And then there were four guys sitting in there. Four guys. Mark Booth, Jerry Voitush, Peter, Papa Carnivore, and me. All of us. Glowing complexions. Healthy. Energetic. Excited. Thin. Or getting thinner for sure. People that looked 15 years younger than their actual age. And the contrast couldn't have been more stark. And if that doesn't show you that what we're doing is the real thing, and what they propose that we do will turn us all into fat, diabetic, heart disease ridden, dementia riddled, drooling in a nursing home humans before we're 65 years old, you can't prove anything in this world, you know. And they say, well, like the song says, don't believe your lying eyes, believe me. Well, bullshit. Anyway, that's the answer to that question.
And that was a good one. Okay, well, I think we have a little break here, so I can pull up some from last.
Yeah, pull up one from yesterday. We got about 4 minutes. We're coming down to wind it down to the end. So we timed it. We timed it perfectly. Yeah. Perfect. Got 100. Ellen.
What?
146 people are here.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. That's fabulous. Thank you, everybody. And let me just talk to you guys for a minute. Let me talk to you, every one of you, each one of you. Imagine that you're sitting in a room with me. You're looking directly at me, and I'm talking directly at you, because that's what I try to do in these streams. I'm not just talking into a camera or a microphone. In my mind, when I talk to you, I envision that I'm talking to human beings. And I'm cognizant of the fact that you're just not somebody who clicked on a video, that you are a person, that you're a person that has your problems, your concerns. You're here for a reason. You enjoy the sense of community. But never forget that that's how I view my audience. And never, ever, ever, please, I mean this, ever forget how grateful I am that you're here. It gives meaning to the work. It gives meaning to doing this. So while I got your attention, again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making me feel like I'm actually doing something relevant instead of being relegated to a life of irrelevance like most people my age who are off in a room somewhere trying to at least make the hours go by till they die. I said this in one of my first videos on this channel when I thanked people that responded and watched me, about how the most important thing about doing this is that it gives meaning to and purpose to my life, and that's why I'm so able to say as many times as I do that I'm feeling content. And it's a great day. Life is good. And it's because of you guys. So I hope you take that as a personal message that I'm trying to convey to you, and a big thank you from me. Okay, Ellen, we got time for a question or two more?
We do. This is a good one, and I can't wait for your answer to this one.
Okay.
This is from Polish Mike.
Oh, I like Polish Mike.
And again, these are from yesterday, as you guys know. So if we do run out of time, we will try to bring them on the next day. If you shop at Costco, how do you show your receipt to the worker by the exit? Saladino says, we should not touch receipts because of BPAs. Yes, he actually said that. And I see you smiling, and I can't.
I gotta tell you, man, thank you, Mike. Thank you so much, man. That's the funniest thing I have ever heard. But I'll tell you, maybe you're onto something, Paul. I certainly don't think you're onto something about carnivores should be eating 150 grams of carbohydrate fruit a day and honey. I mean, I just can't see that one. But maybe you're onto something. Maybe we shouldn't touch toilet paper either. You know, we certainly shouldn't pick up a plastic bottle in our hand because we might get BPA on our fingers. Come on, nice. Jesus, how? And there's only one word that I can think of to describe taking anything to that level. You're in there with the mask wearing, hand sanitizer using, Lysol spraying soccer moms. Come on, Paul, you're a grown up for God's sakes. I don't know what happened to him. I used to watch him all the time. His handle on YouTube was Carnivore MD. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. But I tell you, and I said there may be something to that. And interestingly enough, Sam's Club is in the process of installing and testing. And I noticed it the other morning when I went to Sam's Club yesterday morning. They have a thing you walk under, almost looks like a TSA thing. It's got an arch over it. It's got some electronics, got some cameras in it, and you walk through it on your way to the guy standing at the door that wants to see your receipt. I didn't know what it was. I thought they were just going to move the checkout station up a little bit. So there's 3 guys standing, and this is early in the morning. Remember, this is before they open, 8 o'clock in the morning to the public. Very few people in the store. They're evidently, I happened to wander by at the time, they're testing this new gizmo that they've installed, which is going to go into service after the first of the year. I know all about it now because I stopped and talked to those guys for a few minutes about what the hell they were doing. But the thing that surprised me, I walk up to them, I walk under that thing, I have no idea, nothing's happening, like a toll booth on the highway, no lights flashed, nothing. I just went through it. I get up to the 3 guys standing, and there's Wayne. Wayne's the guy, Wayne's the doorman. I've known Wayne for years. He's a fixture there. He's an old retired guy, and he always says, hi, how you doing? He says to me, well, did you score some markdown meat today? I mean, that's how often I go in there. Mm-hmm. And I go to Wayne, and I got the receipt in my hand, and he just looks at me and says, okay. I say, what? Yeah, go ahead. You don't want to see the receipt? No, I don't need to see the receipt. That thing you just walked through took a picture of everything in your cart, compared it to everything on the receipt, and told me that you're okay. Now, I didn't know whether to be scared shitless or impressed. The technology. Think about that. They have the technology now that can look at your cart. Because I wondered why, when the cashier was putting the stuff in my cart, she put it in pretty much where everything could be seen. It was spread out. And I said, why the hell did she do that? Well, that's why. And I imagine that they're still going to have to manually check those carts that people do the self-checkout, or they're so loaded up you can't possibly tell what's on the bottom. But mine was easy. I was the perfect test for them. And they explained that to me. Yeah, they just took a picture of your cart. Between the time you were there and got to here, the computer, artificial intelligence, analyzed the cart, made a list of products, compared it to the list of the products on your receipt, matched them all up, and on his little handheld device, it said, this guy, don't stop this guy. And he just said, go right ahead. So, Paul, whether you know it or not, maybe we're actually coming up with technologies where we won't have to touch those highly poisonous and deadly Sam's Club receipts. And that's the answer. Probably more of an answer than you ever wanted to know. I know you were basically just telling me that for the chuckle, but that's what happened yesterday. And I think we're a little overtime here, Ellen, so I'm going to think about winding it down. We still have almost 149 people here, hanging in here to the end.
Hanging in here.
And that's so flattering to me and to Ellen that we haven't bored the shit out of you where you've taken off with more important things to do this morning. It really is. It's a hell of a sign. It's something that very normally does not happen on YouTube videos or live streams, is that the audience hangs in there until the very end. And again, I thank you for that, my friends. I thank you so much. It means so much to me. Yeah. So let me bring you in, Ellen. You can say a little goodbye. Let me get a little traveling music in there, and we will bring Ellen back into the picture. Say goodbye.
Hey, goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay. Thank you, Ellen, and I will see you tonight on the live stream, where you have no perch tonight. You're just another member of the crew.
That's right.
And you'll be in the chat with us, and everybody get to talk to you. So look forward to that. We'll see you then. Okay. Take care.
Have a great day.
Have a good day. You too. All right. And that just leaves me, and I'm going to give you all a chance, a minute or two, to say goodbye. Say goodbye in the chat. Say your last goodbyes. I'm going to light up my cigar, which I've grossly ignored during this thing. There you go. I'm going to take another swig of the remainder of my ice-cold coffee. And I'm going to thank you again. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you. It's been a great morning, and I think we had a great live stream this morning. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning, where we can just do it again. And the music ended, and so will the stream. So my friends, as usual, you know the drill. You know the commandment. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.